Yo, it is another edition of the High Hopes podcast, sponsored by Miller Lite, official partner of the Philadelphia Phillies. Tastes like Miller Time Philadelphia. Celebrate responsibly, Fritzy. I got to be honest with you. I think this is the first time, and it's obviously because of who's leaving, more news coming. I'm sure we'll get to that, but I got to be honest. We never lie to the Hopes listeners. We never have. We never will. I got to be honest with you. I think this is the first time we're doing an emergency podcast for a guy that I had never heard of when they actually made the trade. So, Jonathan Bolin, whatever. Welcome down. Welcome to the Phillies, man. All right. Matt Strahm, not surprised to see you go, but see ya. Let's get into it. How you doing, Fritzy?
I'm good. It's our third podcast this week. Talk about exciting. I don't care. I don't care what they do as long as we get to do the podcast. That's the only thing that makes me happy.
I know. And I felt bad that I made you do the solo one for Keller late at night, the whole thing. So I was like, I got to make it happen today. I'll be here.
40 minutes just going off about Brad Keller, Ani Kalambi, and then a little bit of Q&A. It was nice. It's
about as Fritzy as it gets. I mean, that is like your happy place right there. Yeah.
We're still on cloud nine about Brad Keller. We are still bummed about Ani Kalambi. And then we brought right back up with the Jonathan Bolin.
Oh, yeah,
we're back now. So really interesting. You said that not surprised. I think if we said that at the end of the season.
No, yeah, I'm talking because of what Dombrowski said. I agree with you. I think if you just take it in a vacuum, if Dave Dombrowski didn't say anything at the end of the season, it would actually be shocking that they moved on from Strahm at this point. But I think because of the press conference, far less shocking that they moved on from it. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously the press conference sure seemed like they had soured on the guy. And yeah, so maybe felt like a point of no return of we just got to get him out of here. I'm really surprised at the return. I really am. I thought that Strahm still being good, not having injuries. 1 year of control probably hurt, obviously,
but
being 34.
Price, you know?
It wasn't a crazy price, given what relievers are getting now in the trade market. I was surprised that it was just Bolin. I thought they could have maybe gotten a catching prospect like Carter Jensen, but I thought maybe the Orioles, they could have got one of their catching prospects. I felt like they were targeting that in a strong trade. And this felt like a straight up salary dump. And it's not that Bolin's interesting. I think he is if they have him under team control until 2032. He has no options left, but
wow, really?
Yeah. But he has a lot of team control, which is interesting.
You rarely see guys with 6 years team control without that,
without the options.
Yeah.
And digging more into him. First off, heavy sinker. And I feel like the Phillies are really trying to get.
Yeah, I mean Keller. Yeah.
Get McCambly is hard on righties. Yeah. They want guys that are tough for righties to square up. So as you dig into it more, he seems like a guy that can start. And if the Phillies are really in the mindset of shedding salary, I thought that Taijuan was not going to be a part of that because they need him because Wheeler's going to be down at the beginning of the year. It would be nice to have Taijuan insurance. But with this move, maybe it would open up the door for a Taijuan trade if they're in the market of just shedding salary. But I do think he's someone that slots in as a long man out of the bullpen. I don't think he's going to be a leverage righty. I think that was Brad Keller, but I think that he's someone that has interesting traits, but he's been up to 97 in some of the videos that I've seen. I think this could be something where they stretch him out, could be a starter, and kind of maybe it gets them in a Taijuan Walker trade.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think you're right that there's I don't think they're just like, oh, we can move on from $6.5 million of salary. Let's just do that. I don't think that's the only impetus for this trade. I think it's part of other moves and part of a tapestry of things that they want to do. But I do think that they were motivated to move on from Strahm. And I think the money's part of it. I also think, look, at the way Dave talked at the end of the year, I think sometimes, there are guys who don't fit your culture, don't fit your team, whatever they believe. it was clear I think it's a perfect way to put it. They soured on Matt Strahm. Again, like I don't ever remember. I mean, even the Bryce Harper thing, which we were like, whoa, and was a bigger deal because who Bryce Harper is, was nowhere close to as critical as he was as Strahm. Like he buried Matt. Like you very rarely hear a general manager, president, whatever, rip a current player under contract the way he went after Strahm there. So like, I'm not surprised they moved on, but like from a baseball sense, to your point, because I do think like, I don't think any Phillies fan wants to hear, oh, well, they freed up $6 million, unless $7 million, unless that's going to lead to something else. Because while like, Banks and Alvarado, you hope Alvarado can kind of get back. You hope Banks is what he was last year and all that. But like, it does open up a left-handed kind of hole in the bullpen in terms of guys you trust. He was probably the most trustworthy of those three, just in terms of staying in on the field and contributing. Now you can flip it around and say, look, Matt Strahm's pitched a lot of innings the last few years.
Yeah.
We saw him be less effective last year, and then the season went on and all. He had that stretch in September where he looked a little better, but for the most part, wore down and whatnot. And we know that some of the ERA wasn't necessarily how good he actually pitched. So I do think there's an argument to saying that they got the best out of Matt Strahm in these years they had him, and that he's probably not going to be as good next year, even as he was this year, potentially. And I think that's part of the calculus. But I do think that unless they use this money, or to your point, whether it's plus Taiwan to do something else, or whether they use this $7 million to go get another reliever or to do something else, like I think people will be annoyed just on the face of it with them just seemingly like giving, even though they're not, just kind of giving him away in a sense.
Totally. I'm not really happy with it unless it leads to another move.
Me too.
And I don't even know if JT's fine. I don't know if it's like,
I don't know if the JT thing is one or the other. Like, I think if they're signing JT, they're signing JT. You know?
Yeah. So if it doesn't lead to another move, I think I'll be disappointed, because I think
you made your team worse, right? You made your team worse today.
Yeah, you did. You did. I think Keller will help against lefties and whatnot, but Banks Alvarado is a really tough bet to make. I thought Banks was great last year, but obviously it's more in a low leverage spot. And Alvarado, we really don't know. We really don't know, because when he came back off after the suspension, he wasn't very good. Now, maybe a whole offseason, he gets it back. Maybe he lost it last year, was rusty. Who knows? It's a tough bet to make with not really another lefty yet coming through the pipeline. There's not one. There's more righties, I think, that could help this bullpen than lefties. So that is 100%. That is concerning. So I just am in the mindset of they are trying to shed salary to get into the Bregman or Bichette markets. Like I think this move, maybe the Taiwan move, Casty will be gone. Eventually, Bohm, which is $11 million that they won't have to spend. Here's one that would hurt. Here's one that would hurt 100%. But he is making $7.5 million this year, and that's Sosa.
Wow, I didn't realize he was quite that high. I would have guessed he was like 4 million or 5 million, somewhere in there. He's 7.5, huh?
And I
do too. I think he's worth that money. I think that's a fair price for that type. Like Whit Merrifield was 8.5. They gave him a couple years ago. Same type of vibe, I guess.
Love Edmundo Sosa, but if they're in the mindset of trying to get into one of those guys' markets, it could be something that he would have value around the league. I think teams have been trying to trade for Edmundo Sosa for a couple of years. He's 30. He's probably going to get $7.5 million in arbitration this year.
Oh yeah.
So that's another name to kind of look out for. But on its surface, the Phillies did not get better today, and hopefully this is just part of the long game. I don't really buy they got out a year early and he was a super.
No, I was just saying pitcher. Like that. It's possible when you look
agree.
At the.
Like if you're doing that, I would rather have it. I would have understood that more if they're able to get a real prospect.
Yeah, because then I totally agree. I agree.
But just getting Jonathan Bolin is not that screams straight salary dump to me rather than so. I think it's a move that leads to a move, and if they don't pay JT, they got off Strahm, they can get off of Bohm. That's 11, so you're getting close to 30.
Oh yeah, no, you're around there. But here, real quick though, because you just made a comment that almost like a throwaway if you get off JT, but like what do you do if you get off JT? Like,
glad
like
you asked.
yes, please. What's the
Glad
plan? We rolling with Marchand and Stubbs? I don't think so, right?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Oh, I'm so glad you asked, James. Let me talk to you about Victor Caratini. I mean,
I like Victor Carrot. I like that defense, baby.
Defense, but better offensively last year than JT. So
wow, was he really?
Well, he hit 259 with a 728 OPS and 12 home runs.
Okay.
His WAR was only down because he played first base a little bit because Christian Walker was hurt, and they had a Diaz down there in Houston. Victor Caratini at like $5 million when you get similar production and pitchers love throwing to him.
Oh, dude, he's like one of those guys that pitchers like wax poetic about. Like people, he's got one of those reputations, you know.
So Marchand, Caratini, and it's not perfect, but if it lands you Bichette or Bregman,
in a second,
you take that swap,
especially because you're not talking about committing to a catcher for age 35, 36, 37 or whatever like you'd have to do for JT.
Exactly. So that'd be my plan at catcher, but I think this is the beginning. I think that this is the beginning of some salary being shedded, and hopefully they can get, like, we need Kyle Tucker to sign with the Blue Jays. Really need it. Dying to see it.
Bo's gone. For that reason.
That would take them out. I think Bichette and Don Mattingly, whenever eventually he signs aboard, are very, very close. There's that clip at the end of the year when they lost. The first person Bichette went up to was Don Mattingly and gave him a big hug. So, my head says Bichette, 28. He slots in batting 2 and
perfect, yeah.
And third base or second base. He's open to playing second base. Maybe
which was interesting. You put that out there. Like you made it clear. Hey guys, I'll play second base, everybody.
Well, because you look at the shortstop defensive numbers and it's like, you probably should. You probably should. Yeah. So the head says adding.
Could he play third? Because I don't think he's ever played it, right? Like at least in the majors.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think so. If you can play shortstop, I think you can play most.
Usually, anywhere. But you just never know.
Or Stott did play third base in 2022. Is that when he started the year? Yeah, because Segura was still here. So Stott did start the year at third base in 22, and I don't know. We'll see. And then my head says Bichette because he's younger and you hit him too. Heart always says Breggy. I mean, ready to get pregnant. Yep, ready to do it. Ready to do it.
Dude, that's great.
Ready to do it. Ready to do it. Ready to do it. So, because listen, Bregman in this lineup, the winter vibes. You want to talk about?
It'd be amazing.
The between Schwarber and him and Harp and come on, man. So I don't know, man. I have a good feeling about the rest of this offseason, and it feels that they're trying to shake this up a little bit. They're trying to maybe get some of the guys in the clubhouse who weren't totally in line with everything, get them out of here, and shake it up. Change the chemistry a little bit.
Which they needed to do. Yeah. They needed to do. Like we've talked a lot about, and I think some fan expectation is unrealistic in terms of the situation they're in, and like blow it up and change it all up. And it's like I don't think people necessarily like think 3-4 steps ahead of that and just kind of want change for change's sake when it's like, okay, but what do they do with this? What do they do with that? When we knew that they were in a situation where, especially with Schwarber, like we wanted him back. It made sense to bring him back, but then you're committing to this group and this core and all these things. I think it would just change the whole perspective on this whole thing if they brought in one more name like a Bichette and a Bregman for everybody else. But I think that for the team itself, like you need, I think you can change it up by having some new guys. Like I think Adolis Garcia's energy will be good for this team. Like he needs to hit, but like I think like that's the type of guy who comes in and can have a beta effect with his energy and that type of stuff. I'm still stuck on the JT thing because I think it's fascinating, Jack, in that I feel like the vast majority of Phillies fans and even us on this pod really have just been like, well, JT will be back. Yeah. Almost like and this is the first time you've kind of like been like, well, maybe he won't. what would you like? Where are you leaning? Are you like starting to shift to like thinking he actually won't be back, or is this just if he isn't? Like, how would you lay out your percentages right now? Because again, we were a few pods ago, like almost like just a fact. Where are you at now? Because it seems like you've shifted.
Yeah, I think that they are. I think that they are interested in getting into a real difference maker type of move, and maybe what's happening is they're surprised in where the Bichette
in the market
and Bregman markets are, and they might feel like they have an opportunity, a lot like the Castellanos offseason.
Yeah, sure.
Where they were like, hold on, before we do the whole, just bring back JT for 2 years or with a club option for a third year, maybe we can get into one of those markets. So, and maybe JT's like really holding out for a third year.
Yeah.
And maybe they're getting frustrated with it. I don't really know, but I think the Phillies are looking at the allocation of money and saying, hold on, do we want to spend the $15 to $17 million on JT, or should we just save it, get off some salary, and maybe go get in one of the markets for Bichette and Bregman? So I don't even know if I have a percentage of where I put JT coming back at this point.
The point is you're not 100 anymore, and we were kind of like under 99, whatever. Yeah, that's in and of itself interesting.
It felt like it was done. It felt like JT was like, all right, I'm coming back. We're running it back, whatever. But I don't know. I don't get that sense anymore. I really don't. I kind of feel like that they are doing a little pause here and saying, do we really want to do this? Do we really want to do this? And I know he had that stretch in the middle of the summer where he was really, really good. You look at the overall numbers last year, and it was, he ended up with this exactly 700 OPS, like exactly a 700 OPS. And that was his age 34 season. So I understand the value he brings defensively is we documented, we talked about it, and how he runs a pitching staff. Just how valuable is that when there is a guy like Victor Caratini out there who also can run a game in a similar way for a way cheaper price and does get you possibly
allows you to do these other things. Yeah, no, dude, this and look, if nothing else, like I want them thinking that way. Like even if it ends up that J team's back or whatever, like I want them to go into the market and say, oh, like look at how this market is playing out. This presents different opportunities than maybe we thought we were going to have coming in. Let's adjust. Let's be fluid. I love that. And I really hope that's where their mindset is, because, that's how you take advantage of opportunities when they come along, instead of being like hamstrung or set already, or just even not thinking that. Like Emily's so much better than me at thinking outside the box. Like I struggle with that sometimes, where I'm just like, all right, well, this is the path that I'm thinking at. I'm gonna be like, well, why don't you just move that thing? And I'll be like, that was dumb. Yeah, of course. I want them to think outside the box. I don't want them to just go in and be like, well, we got to sign JT because it's JT. So I really hope that's where they're at.
And I think that's been a problem for them for the last couple of years, is the lack of creativity, and being I almost feel like they don't trust themselves sometimes. They have something good and they're like, we can't possibly, he's ours. So yeah, it's risky. It's certainly risky. What I find interesting is I don't think you can trade Bohm unless you have it on pretty good authority.
Agree.
That one of those guys are coming. Now, I've kind of got to the mindset where, I know it sounds haterish, but $11.5 million that Bohm's probably going to get, or just roll with Otto Kemp and possibly Sosa.
And then Aiden, when he's ready to, maybe he has a great first half of the year in the minors, you just bring him up and roll. Like, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready.
By the way, there is still the trade deadline. Like, we forget, but last year the Phillies made themselves much better at the trade deadline. Like, you can go in with a somewhat unsure situation in a position and still have optionality as the season progresses.
I'm just sort of ready to be over the Bohm thing. Ready. And then the other thing that I think is interesting, I don't think they're opening up money for Harrison Bader, but the way that Dombrowski talked the other day, and it was kind of, now we had talked about they're going to start leaking out that Crawford is the center fielder and going from there. That could have been a message to Bader.
Of course it could have.
Take a year off the contract and maybe some of the demands down, or we'll roll with Crawford. So maybe this could also be freeing up money for Harrison Bader. it's not that I'd be disappointed because I love Harrison Bader, but
but I'd rather have Bader. I'd rather have Bregman or Bichette. Personally.
I'm big game hunting. I'm big.
Yeah, and I'm thinking on a track record. Like, I love what Harrison Bader did here, but like, and I know that like potentially like there was a mechanical change or the swing plane or whatever. Like, I'd much rather have the guy who's been good for 5 years, the guy who's been good for like 7 years or 8 years, whatever. Bregman, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just have the track record guy.
Totally. But now if they did bring back Bader, that would make a Marsh trade a possibility. And
I want Bader back. Don't get me wrong. I won't be upset. Like Bader, I think, especially the defense, like he is a valuable player and I like him, but I'd rather have Bichette or Bregman if given the choice.
So there's some avenues here. There are some real avenues here.
All right.
Possibly
exciting.
Yeah, listen, I think today was just the start. I really do. I think today was just the start, the first domino, and we'll see how the rest of the offseason
You made me feel better, dude. You made me feel better. This is hold on. Phil's made another trade according to Tucker. Look at this as we get in. The Philly. Oh, so not a Tucker. Another trade with 4 exclamation points.
AOA.
They've acquired left-handed pitcher Kyle Backus from the Diamondbacks for minor leaguer Avery Owusu-Asiedu.
Yeah.
Hey, how about that?
The Clearwater Aaron Judge. Yeah, he's AOA is a model darling, but probably will not make enough contact to stick. So.
Kyle Backus, the Strahm replacement.
I'm sure. You're really chasing me here between.
Well, here, look him up real quick and tell us the peripherals real quick. But what I will say, because I wanted to add one last thing before we're done.
Oh wow, he was in the big leagues.
Because I wasn't on the solo pod you did. Crush some tape. Fully in on Brad Keller.
Yeah.
What a dog. What a dog.
He's amazing.
I'm ready. And also go if you're not excited about Brad Keller, go to his Savant page for last year. Like, you're gonna be excited. In on Brad Keller.
Kyle Backus.
What do you got on Backus?
Lefty's hit 139 against him last year.
All right, we got a stud.
No, he did. Add him to the factory. Wow, he's a little sidewinding lefty too. That's exciting.
I love that. We never have those guys.
Wow, they trade AOA though. That's sad. He was always a real potential guy that you would get excited about. But
you gotta love those guys.
Yeah, probably no shot at being a real.
Probably not gonna put it together like almost all those guys.
Almost all those guys, but could. But could. Can we close out this podcast with talking about real quick the
what you okay? No, hold on. Let me set this up. You don't need to finish sentence because I know where you're going. Because I'm literally leaving work yesterday and I got a call from Jack and I'm like, oh my god, did the Phillies make a trade? Do we have to do a podcast? No, tell them what you called me about.
Well, I saw the news that Scooble and Mason Miller joined Team USA, and I had to talk about it.
You called me. You didn't text me. You called me to tell me about the USA pitching staff for WBC.
I was threatening
to. It's a real thing that happened. Yes.
I was threatening to ruin your nap time. I really was. I
know.
It rang 3 times, and I was like, "Oh, I forget he keeps his phone on ringer when he's sleeping." And I was like, it could have been a bad guy move." But then around 5:00, Logan Webb was added to it as well. I mean,
oh, buddy,
dude, they're better than the '92 Dream Team, 100%. I mean, no. It ain't close.
I would condone that one.
I would take this rotation over that starting 5 any day of the week.
Okay,
any day of the week.
I think we might have jumped the shark with this pod here.
You know what's so nice about it? It felt like Skeens being on the team. Schoolwell is like, I'm not going to let him think he's the face of pitching in baseball.
There you go.
Now, who's your game 1 starter?
Well, Skeens, right? No, I'm just kidding. I actually think it's probably Scooble.
I think it's Skeens. I think
Skeens is going to be better, like long term. But I think like today, if I had to win one game because of the experience he's had in big games and stuff like that, I'd go Scooble.
Dude, the rotation 2 years ago, they had Nick Martinez was the 4 starter. Merrill Kelly was the ace. Adam Wainwright was 40. And now we're going with our Nolan McLean's like the 5, and he's going to come out of the bullpen. Nolan McLean is sick. It is sick. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. Brazil, first game, by the way. I mean, Skeens might strike out 20 if they let him go. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Come on.
Now we're done.
I can't believe they trade AOA.
It's crazy. I love that we're ending the pod with you can't believe they trade AO, not that they trade Matt Strahm. All right, you got anything else?
No, but
I'll say hi to BLG for you. He'll be here in 3 minutes.
Say hi to BLG and just know this is you know what this reminds me of? You know what this reminds me of? You know when Howie in 2016.
Browski season
when he went 13-8 to 2.
the hopscotch.
That's what this is. This is
Love
just
it.
the beginning. Just the
Love
beginning.
it.
Exciting
Very
stuff.
nice. Pod title. All right. We'll be back when the next shoe drops. So can't wait till then. Until then, he's Rhythm Seltzer.